Check, check. Can you guys hear me okay? One, two. Can everybody hear me? Awesome. Give me just 1 second, we'll get started. Okay. We're here. We made it. Thank God. You guys still got me 5x5? So sorry for all these streaming trouble, guys. There's something weird going on with the pre-scheduled stream. For whatever reason, I'm telling it to go live. I'm saying go, and it just says, nah. It's like just not, it's not letting me do it. So I tried another stream, which you guys saw, and that confused everyone, which was all part of the plan. And so that one was working, and I'm like, okay, well, let me go back and try the main stream. Still wasn't working. So anyway, I'm going to have to figure that out on a later date. But for now, sorry for all the back and forth there, everybody. Alright. So I do have some good topics to go over. And we've got the 1911 reveal. Been a lot of good guesses. And so yeah. I'm going to get into that in just a second. I'm just kind of giving it a second to make sure everybody gets over here from the other stream. I had to go delete the other stream because, like, man, it was just causing too much confusion. Okay. See you guys chatting about your military service. I appreciate you guys who've served. I never did. I served the community. That was all I ever did. Fire department for 7 years. It was a good time. Even though my dad tried like crazy to get me to go to the Marines. Didn't do it. Just setting up my last control panel here, and we'll get going. So, you can hear those awesome schizophrenic ads trying to run in the background. That's always fun. All right, before we get going here, who is ready for the reveal? And start throwing your guesses out. Dude, Top Turret, thank you for that super chat. That is so kind. And I appreciate your service, man. I really do. Really do. Appreciate that super chat. Okay. So the reason it's taking me a minute here is, there we go. Okay, now we're set up. Yeah, so the reason it's taken me a minute, guys, is because I had all of the stream information configured with my pre-planned, my scheduled stream, and, you know, when it took a dump earlier and wouldn't work, I lost all that data. So, okay, here we go. So, few caveats here before we get going. So first of all, there's the lovely hands view. Just what everybody wanted to see, a bunch of dude hands. So this pistol is one that I said I would never buy again, and I've run several of them. You know, there's just so many things that annoy me about these pistols. There's so many deviations, and it feels needless. And but for the sake of the channel, this was literally just for the sake of the channel. I thought I'm going to give one an honest go. Also because I don't know if you guys saw the recent video that came out where this guy said he had on his channel. I don't remember how he titled it, but it was something like 80,000 round Kimber. And then that caused a bunch of people to reach out to me and be like, and I'm saying literally upwards of 40, which is a lot for me. I'm just a guy, okay? Had a lot of people reach out to me and they were like, dude, you gotta look at Kimber, or check this video out, blah, blah, blah. So, there it is. Now, I can't show it live because, as you well know, I will get whacked from the YouTube lords. Yeah, hold on. Let me see if I can do something about the audio. I see you guys talking about that. Is it the mic that's too low? Okay. We'll turn the and also you guys let me know how the balance is between the audio and the music and my voice. I don't want to overpower anybody. So there it is. That's the reveal. It is a Kimber Custom 2. So I feel like, well, first of all, let me just say this. It's used. Yeah, let me pull that music down just a little there. There we go. So it is a Kimber Custom 2, and it was used, but the guy that I got it from said he only put 200 rounds through it, which, according to the Kimber manual, is not even halfway through its break-in cycle, which is hilarious. And we're going to talk about that. That's one of the topics today, is 1911 break-in cycles. So, got this pistol used for less than half price new. And yeah, it's again, it's probably not one. In fact, let me rephrase that. It's definitely not one I would have got just for me to enjoy. That's for sure. Here's the other side view. But I thought this would be an interesting topic for the channel. So let's just kind of talk about this for a minute. And yeah, K-Fez, you did just mention that. So here's the reasons I never liked Kimbers, okay? So they are in the semi-custom class of 1911s. And as you guys know, I'm mostly a factory guy, although I've owned several semi-custom guns. I've actually owned a Kimber for literally 2 weeks. And I hated it. It literally malfunctioned at least once a magazine. It was awful. But, you know, I've owned semi-custom 1911s before, and they're fine. But most of the time, all that semi-custom means is it's just tight. It's a tight gun. And I've just never... I've never understood why we have it sewn into our psyche that tight is better, but for some reason it is. Now, they feel nice in the hand, and they you know, it's a thing that I guess it's cool to say to your buddies that, like, yeah, you know, the gun's tight, so that means something. But anyway, Kimber's in that class. They are the semi-custom gun. And look, let me give some kudos to Kimber. Back in the 90s, you know, custom guns with these features, you know, like with the long triggers, the beaver tails, the skeletonized hammers, upgraded sights, front serrations, the different finishes, these were actually kind of rare. And, you know, and what I mean by rare is was really doing this on the factory level for anywhere near an affordable price, right? Most people were either modding these themselves or, you know, just, you know, rocking them in a GI configuration. And Kimber did kind of change the game, where they said, no, we're actually going to do a semi-custom gun that is basically a factory gun, and we're going to give it to you out the door for a pretty reasonable price. with a lot of quote-unquote custom features, which is why you get names like this, the Custom 2. It is because back then, this was a custom pistol, right? So, the problem is, back in the 90s, they were awesome. Their entire line, I think it was the Classic Custom, was one of their old guns. And those were great. That was like, this is a proper 1911. It did have a lot of hand fitting. And it was like, okay, these are not bad. But, like, you guys know how there's all this drama with SIG going on? Well, years ago, before SIG's name started to get dragged through the mud, they got a new CEO. That CEO who has brought them to where they are today is the same CEO that in the late 90s, early 2000s changed Kimber. And that's where you have the twos come out. And this is where you had the lawsuit triggers, i.e. the Series 80. This is where you had plastic mainspring housings come into play. This is where you had a lot of changes that really built Kimber's reputation to be what it is. And that is not so great 1911. So, interesting little fun fact. The same guy who ran Kimber into the ground is the same guy doing that to SIG right now. So, anyway, yeah, I never could get along with Kimbers. I had a lot of friends who had them, and man, they were just jam factories. And particularly, I took a lot of stock in watching videos back then. I think Nut and Fancy was the only guy who was really sounding the alarm that, hey guys, Kimbers don't work well. And, think whatever you want to think about Nut and Fancy. I know sometimes he's a little goofy, but, I actually respect the guy. I think he's a very honest guy, and his reviews are very helpful. So, anyway, fast forward to now, and this is the only 1911 from Kimber I would even consider getting, which is the one I got. And because it has an actual bushing barrel, it has, the two-part feed ramp, which is proper. It still has a sliding trigger. Now, I will say, we did get some parts. You know how I roll. I got some parts. So, let's go over to the bench view. I'm going to pause right here and look at the chat. Good Lord, you guys are talking a lot. This is great. Let's see here. All right. I'm going to try to boost the decibels on my mic a little bit. Check, check, check. Let's see if that worked. Okay. Let me know how that did for the mic. I did just boost it 120%. So now if you can hear the sound of my teeth, I'm sorry. But yeah, trying to get it right. Yeah, Stacy. So I see your comment. I've had a Kimber Classic since the late 90s. A few things about it I don't like, but it's probably the best pistol I have. So you have one of the good ones. I think it was 2003 when things started to change for the worse. So I'm not surprised it is one of the better pistols you have. And the interesting thing about the video all you guys were sending to me with that Kimber with the 80,000 rounds through it, it was a one. It was a Gen 1. It was from the 90s. I just seriously doubt you could take a modern Kimber and get that kind of performance from one today. Let's see here. I want to make sure I'm not missing any comments that are directed at me. Yeah, Nicholas Roberts, that's great, man. I'm glad your Kimber is working for you. Look, here's the thing. This is the thing that that I struggle with about Kimbers, another reason why I've never really been able to dive into them, is because every review you see of Kimbers, it's just somebody slobbering on how much they love their Kimber. I don't feel like they're objective, and normally the reviews are just kind of fuddy-duddy. They're not technical. And so my goal with this review is to be technical. I'm going to go through this thing like I do, and give it a proper review. Okay, good. Sounds like the audio is good. All right, I did cut the background music down just a little bit. All right, so let's talk about what I've got in front of me, what I just threw out here. So I did get a couple actual Kimber magazines. So this gun is coming with a bunch of mags, but look, I do want to give it a fair shake, okay? I don't want to buy a used gun. I don't know how he stored these guns, right? I don't know if he kept the magazines downloaded. I don't know. So I wanted to get a couple new mags, which interestingly look like they are made by the same company that makes my beloved Springfield mags. Now, I will say, you guys want to hear something funny? Listen to this. So on the back of this bag, the Kimber magazine, it says, "This product may need to be installed by a qualified gunsmith." That is too funny. The lawyer speak on these products is just hilarious. So anyway, I got 2 7-round mags, just standard 7-rounders, and they are Kimber brand. I also got a Wilson Combat spring cap, because you know what we're going to do, right? We're going to take that full-length guide rod, and I'm going to put it in a slingshot. I'm going to shoot it into the lake. Now, I am going to shoot it with the full-length guide rod first, and, you know, I'm going to give it a shot. But eventually, when I'm done doing the video, it's going to get this Wilson Combat spring cap, and I'm going to put in a proper GI recoil system. I also got a new leaf spring, as is proper, a new 23-pound mainspring, and then, if I can get it out, so you guys know how, hopefully you know, how Kimber, they do plastic mainspring housings now. I got a proper stainless one from EGW, so I just cannot abide with a plastic mainspring housing. Cannot do it. Of course, I got a recoil spring for it, and I got 250 rounds of Winchester service grade that I will be running through it and just see how it works. See how it works. Not all at once. I'm not going to do a burn down test. I'm not into that. Let's see here. Yeah, so K-Fez, I had an older version of the Desert Warrior, bought it cheap off a buddy. Yeah, it was a giant piece of crap. Yeah, man, and you know, that's one that's a pretty gun. It's a good looking gun, the Desert Warrior. And you know, I want to like them, but I tried that one, and actually this guy that I got, I tried one of these custom 2s back in the day. Now, granted, the custom 2 that I tried was fresh out of the box. I was with my buddy who had just bought it. And, you know, take a guess how it went. It was not great. Let's see. I want to get caught up in a lot of chats going here. Yeah, Chris Ferguson, that is very true. You know, look, I'm all about being, you know, gung-ho for a brand, but, you know, it's gotta mean something. It's gotta make sense, you know? It's not just like, I like the brand because I like the brand. You have to have a reason, I feel like, you know? Yeah, Blue Spade. So the majority of people that I hear from, Blue Spade E5, that seems to be their experience is get past the break-in period and they're okay. Um, and so and honestly, I'm hoping that's what we see here. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't know if anybody else has this compulsion. I just don't like break-in periods. I don't like the idea of them. Imagine this. Imagine this is a hilarious example to me. Imagine you got a parachute and you were gonna start skydiving, and they're like, "Well, hey, this thing might not work, so you're gonna have to jump with it like 20 times before you can really make sure it works." It's like, what? That's I struggle with the break-ins, but I want to give it a try. Let me keep going here. I'm very behind on the chats here. K-Fez, yeah, that's discouraging, man. So here's what I'm hoping to do. This is my hope with this 1911. I'm hoping that I'm going to try it. I am going to put new springs in it. I want to give it a fair shot. So I'm going to do a new recoil spring. I'm going to do a new main spring. I'm going to do a very good cleaning and lubricating. I'm going to use new mags, and I'm going to give it a shot. As it stands, I'm not even going to change the mainspring housing yet. I'm not going to change the full-length guide rod. I'm just going to do springs, lubrication, mags, okay? And my hope is if we start having problems, I'm going to then go in and see what I need to do to get it to work besides just shooting it. Because there's two things that can be true. You can have a break-in period because the guns are literally too tight from the factory. And also, there can be something that needs to be fixed. So, we'll see. Yeah, top turret gunner Williams. That's how I am. That's why I sold my TRPs, both of them, my loadeds, my MC operator, because I just had such good luck with the old GI pistols. I just realized, like, man, I take these guns out and they run as good as any pistol I own, 1911 or not. And I just, yeah, man. Chandler, I've been looking at the Kimber TLE2 with the rail. The thing's been stopping me with issues. Yeah. So here's my 2 cents, Chandler. If you're looking for a railed 1911, T-Sauce makes a really nice railed 1911, and they work, and they're all forged. Because here's the deal: if you go with Kimber, Colt, or Springfield, they're fine, Colt and Springfield, but you're gonna have MIM parts. That's just the reality. So if it were me, if I'm looking to save some money and I just want a good solid gun, I'm going T-Sauce. Now, if you don't want to go T-Sauce, if you want a Springfield or a Colt, so you got the Colt railgun, which I have had experience with, and it's like most Colts. The trigger is trash. The fitment is trash. If it were me, I'd be going for if you can find a used Long Beach operator, a used Springfield Long Beach operator, that's a great pistol. They don't make them anymore, but that's a good one. A close second is the MC operator. Very, very good 1911. Yeah, Stacy, getting rid of the full-length guide rod is really simple. I mean, if it's not causing you any problems, I would be hesitant to tell you to change it. But me personally, I have enough experience with full-length guide rods that I don't want them. Yeah, John Decker, my Colt is old. The older your Colt is, the better it is. So I think you are probably well set up. John Decker. Mine sounds like an 80-year-old Maraca. That's hilarious. Man, Makoki 23. Brother, I really appreciate that donation, that super chat. I don't know what to say. But listen, that goes directly right to the channel. And listen, I just want to let you guys know too, YouTube takes 50% of every super chat, and which is pretty steep. But man, every dime that comes from you guys, it's going right back into stuff you're asking for. I'm going to do my best to honor those gifts, and I just really, really appreciate you, man. That is, puts a lump in my throat, my friend. Yeah, you know, I keep people, Kennard Lang. I don't know how to say your name, bro. I'm sure I'm butchering your name, so I'm sorry. Let me get rid of these ads. Go away. Come on. So, yeah, you said I want to grab a Mac JSOC or the MuSoc. So people have been mentioning this TSOS Mac, I think, or JSOC. I haven't looked at it. In fact, why don't I just... I'm just going to see if I can pull it up right now. Let's have a look. I've never even set eyes on... Oh, wow, okay. Okay. Why was I not aware of this? Check this out, everybody. So that's a good-looking gun. This is a TSOS? It looks like it has a gold front bead. So this is very much a... that is definitely like a Delta Force inspired gun. If you guys have ever done a deep dive with Larry Vickers' stuff, he shows like... he shows those... like the history of the Delta 1911s. This has that heritage about it for sure. This is a good looking gun, man. Is that the one you were talking about there, Kennard? I'm so sorry. I don't know which one it is. Mikoki 23. The Patreon is still in process of being set up. You'll see something the end of this week. Or actually the end of next week. I am trying to get it set up. A lot of people are asking, and I'm going through the verifications as fast as I can. So that'll be up very soon. Yeah, I don't like the break-ins, man. Part number on the leaf spring. Okay, so this is the leaf spring that I prefer out of all of them. Let me get back to my bench here. So this guy right here, and I just bought this one recently. And listen, I do have to apologize to everybody. I've been telling you the 316G springs are the one to get. It's been a lot of years since I've bought those because I bought them in bulk like 10 years ago. Well, apparently now Wilson Combat has changed their naming conventions. And so now everybody thinks I'm telling them to get 18-pound springs. So it's super sorry, man. I should have made sure I was current with the info. But anyway, the 417 Sear spring bulletproof. That is the Sear that I love. But a factory plus will do just fine as well. Let me get caught up on the chats here. Man, you guys are got a lot going on here. Alex Coons, so you have this pistol we were just looking at, this one right here? If so, I want to hear from you guys. What am I looking at? Because if this is a TSOS, that is a fine looking pistol. Tango Golf 3, first 1911, bought in 2003, Kimber Pro Carry. Took 2 classes with it, no problems. Yeah, man, the shock about the mainspring housing. So I have a story about the mainspring housing. So my buddy John, he had a Oh gosh, the TLE, is that a model? I'm pretty sure that's a model. And it had the plastic mainspring housing, and I'll never forget. We had just got done shooting, and we walked in his garage, and he went to go draw. He went to go draw his 1911. It was empty. He just put it in his holster to like carry it inside. And when he went to go draw it, he kind of like pulled it fast, and it flew up in the air. He lost it, went up in the air, and came down, and it landed on the aluminum door flashing underneath his feet, and that mainspring housing cracked in two, and his hammer dropped. I watched it happen with my own two eyes. Like, I watched it happen, guys. So ever since that day, I just, boy, I have, that moment stigmatized plastic mainspring housings forever for me. Sorry for that awful squeaking noise. Tall hair, you just bought a new T-Sauce A1. That's awesome, dude. Awesome. With the Parkerized. So did you... Okay, so it sounds like you got like the historical version with the proper ejection port. Yeah, so that's the one that we don't talk about much either. Alex Kuhn's, the SIG 1911s. Absolutely. SIGs are great. I had a Scorpion for a while on loan. And it ran great. No complaints. It's just visually for me, I never got into them because they sigified John Moses Browning's baby, and it just violated my conscience. Grizzly Man, I really appreciate the comment. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying the videos. I'm just doing what I enjoy. So the fact that it's connecting with people is it's an honor, really. I love it. Top Turret Gunner. Any mods I make are to improve reliability and durability. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. Now, for me, like, a lot of the mods that I'm doing on 1911s are for my comfort, just things I like. But 90% of them are getting the guns set up the way they should be from the factory. Yeah, Checkmate mags, K-Fez. Agreed. Checkmates are solid. Let's see here. Yeah, Grizzly Man, the 7 Colts. You held 7 of them in your local shop, and they felt like trash. Yeah, man, it's really sad. I mean, look, I know I got my Colt knowing it was going to be a project gun, but I wanted to build an heirloom gun. I wanted a project gun. I anticipated big problems. I did not anticipate half the rifling not being there. That one, I'm going to be honest, didn't see that coming. Yeah, Mikoki, the Sear is the 417, which you can see there. The recoil springs, I don't know what they are anymore, so you just got to find a 16-pound Wilson Combat recoil spring. I don't know what package they come in anymore, so I will find out. I can give you my word there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to talk about our next topic for the night. And let me pull this out of here. So before I do, I thought I would share with you guys. I wanted to share with you guys the monetization from the channel just bought its first gun. And I mean 100% of the proceeds. Now, granted, it wasn't a ton, but because, you know, it's kind of funny. Like, the way you get paid on YouTube is so strange. I had a YouTube short get 67,000 views. I got 48 cents for that video. It makes no sense. Well, I made 48 of them. But overall, though, it is doing pretty well. And so I wanted to share with you guys the first gun that the channel bought, thanks to you guys. Let's see. I'm just making sure I'm not missing you guys' chats. I don't want to leave anybody behind. If I missed your chat and I don't answer it, just say it again, and I'll do my best to get to you. Yeah, Alex, they did have a complete spring kit. I can't find one where it's just like the proper weight springs. For whatever reason, the 316G is now a kit that's like heavier springs, and I don't want that. So anyway, here is the rifle that I bought. Anybody ever heard of a Topper M48 from H&R? So, saw this one on Gunbroker the other day, and this one is an old one. It's an H&R. If you guys don't know, Harrington and Richardson, or did I say that right? Yeah, Harrington and Richardson. So I had one of these a long time ago, and you've seen it in one of my videos, and I have a picture of it. It's a single break shotgun. Let me get to a good picture. There we go. So it's a break open single shot, and it's an old one. There's some pitting on the barrel. Inside is solid, but it is I think it's a 30-inch barrel. It's a very long barrel. But back then, and I can tell it's an older one and a good one, because if you look right here, you see this little rounded off piece that's in between the stock and the receiver. This piece right here on the newer ones is plastic. And basically that sort of is like a buffer so the gun can break open and rotate. The problem is those plastic pieces break, and then the gun just becomes completely inoperable. So the older ones, they have a few things going for them. They have this old left to right break open lever, which is steel, which is much better, and then they have an actual steel swivel piece. And so these older guns are much more sturdy. This one in particular was made in 1948. I just looked. Beautiful shotgun. Make sure. Yeah, Kennard. I don't know which one it is. Yeah, YouTube money is very random. It makes no sense. And look, I'm not going after the money. I'm just making things that I think are valuable and that make sense to me, and that I think things that I would want to watch. And my goal with the YouTube channel was I just want to find people who think like me. I'm not going to try to appeal to the masses. And if I found 23 dudes all over the world and we all just high five a couple times a week about guns we love, then I've done it. I'm done. Turns out there's like at least 2,400 of you, which is wild. I mean, look at that shotgun. That right there. If you can't get along with that, boy. Yeah, Blue Spade, the 316G has an 18.5-pound recoil spring in it. Yeah, man, I'm really sorry if anybody bought that and I misled you. I feel bad about that. I should have done my research there, but look, an 18-pound recoil spring's not terrible. It's just not completely correct. And, I have run an 18-pound spring, but I think the heaviest I would go is 17, personally. Yeah, Mikoki, no, I have not heard of the BH Spring Solution System. I've never heard of that. Yeah, so this old shotgun, I had it and I loved it. But I sold it to a guy who knew how to fix them because I kept breaking parts in it because it was one of the new ones and it had the plastic swivel. I broke that plastic swivel like 3 times. I just can't get along with that, man. So there it is. That is the new gun. And yeah, appreciate you guys. That is completely because of you guys commenting, watching, subscribing. Stacy, really glad you're here. I'm glad you stumbled upon the channel. Honored you're here. I really am. Let's see. Yeah, so Harrington and Richardson are one of those companies that, like, back in the day, they weren't like super popular like a Winchester, but they're a good company, made in America, and they just made good, solid guns. And over time, they got bought and sold, and like everybody else, and now they make a form. I don't even know if they're around anymore, but yeah, the quality trailed off, and now nobody knows who they are. Yeah, Nicholas, so that's a good point you brought up there about you have the 316G, but you use plus P HSTs and Buffalo bores. So that is a good point. If you are going to regularly run hot ammo, nothing wrong with an 18-pounder. I mean, they'll work no matter what, but that is a good point that you are adding a lot of hate in your gun when you run those plus Ps. But if it's a well-made gun, it can take it. Let's see here. Yeah, Grizzly Man, I think they do. I don't know the deal. I haven't researched. But yeah, Kennard. Yeah, so that's the reputation they have now. Is they are sort of the poor man's rifle, is what people call them, or the poor man's gun. But that's not what they used to be, and that's why I got one from 1948, because they're actually solid guns back then. All right, so I want to dive into a topic that everybody was kind of talking about with the Kimber thing. It's related to the Kimber thing, and that is 1911 break-in periods. So I'm going to pull something up on my screen. I'm just going to read it to you. Let me see here. Okay, so here's the deal. You know, 1911 break-in periods, they are a thing. They do exist, okay? However, there's a big but in there. And that is, people have taken the break-in period concept that really only exists with semi-custom guns, and they've just applied it to all guns. And here's the reality. Factory 1911s do not need a break-in period. And I'm going to kind of prove it to you, not just because of my experience, but I want to read you an AI-assembled report. Okay? So I asked Grok AI, I said, I want you to assemble a list, because you guys know, every manufacturer, every firearm manufacturer has to have a copy of their manual on their website. That means AI can index those manuals and read them for me. So I asked AI to read every manual for every company that makes 1911s, and I want you to separate out them into two groups. I want you to separate them into those who call for a break-in period and those who do not. Okay? So hopefully everybody's tracking here. ONC99, no. Extra power firing pin springs are not bad. They are good. That is a good thing. And I'll explain that a little bit later. So here's the list of companies that call for a break-in period with their pistols. Kimber, 500 round break-in. Wilson Combat, 500 round break-in. Les Baer, 500 round break-in. Dan Wesson, 500. Nighthawk Custom, 250. Interesting that's slightly less. Ed Brown, 500. Okay. Those are the companies, and guess what those companies produce? They produce semi-custom or custom pistols. Okay, they do not produce factory pistols. All of their guns, like we see here, are semi-custom or custom, meaning they're going to do a slide-to-frame fit job. They're going to make it tighter, right? They're going to do an actual trigger job, not just add a bigger spring or a weaker spring. They're going to do a barrel bushing fit. They're going to go through and fit that thumb safety really nicely, right? They are semi-custom and custom guns. That means they're tighter, and that means they are, by their very nature, less reliable, okay? And the way to get them reliable and get them to sort of loosen up a little bit in the areas where they're tight is just to shoot them. So instead of the company, really spending the time to make sure they work, what they would rather do is make them a little over tight and then have you finish the fit job with your bullets, which I just genuinely disagree with. Now, here's a list of the companies that do not call in their manuals for a break-in period. Springfield Armory, Colt, TSOS, Gearson. You go down the list here, pretty much every single 1911 company that produces factory 1911s do not call for a break-in period. In their manuals, that is. Now, Springfield has been noted, if you ask them, like if you call them or email them, they will tell you it's not a bad idea. But it's not in their manuals, and why is that? Because on their guns that are factory, they're already built properly and don't need a break-in period. The only reason you have to do a break-in period on a 1911 is because they are technically too tight. It is an overly fitted weapon. So that is the reason why I don't like break-in periods, is because what it's telling me is the gun is technically too tight. And what does a tight gun get you? And I'm gonna stop there and let you guys answer. What does a tight gun get you? And if you're going to say accuracy, can you tell the difference in your accuracy with a factory gun versus a custom gun? I can't. I sure can't. I'm not the best shot on the planet, but I'm a pretty good one. So while you guys take a minute to answer that question there, I'm going to read some chats here. Let's see. Yeah, Tango Golf. Yeah, that's what I used to have. In fact, let me just see. I'm pretty sure I have a picture of my old break action. I do. Here we go. There we go. So that is my old H&R. And same thing, plastic trigger guard, plastic little bushing there. And I broke that gun 3 times, unfortunately. But it was, I loved it. I shot it a lot. Like, I don't know if you guys feel this way, but there's something about simple guns that are just so simple and so basic. They just draw me. And the simplicity, there's like an art to the simplicity. I absolutely love them. Let's see here. Yeah, so Grizzly Man asked about the Garrison. So I am going to be getting a Garrison. I'm going to be borrowing one from a buddy of mine. I'm a big fan of the Garrison. I actually think it's quite a nice gun. I would say head-to-head a Garrison blued version against a Colt. That Garrison's way better. Yeah, the Garrison's a solid gun. Amerikesh, have I tried the Ranger TLE ammo? No, I haven't. Man, I'm super basic when it comes to ammo. I just, I'm not into the magic bullet stuff. Really never have been. Yeah, it feels right, K-Fez, that H&R is owned by Palmetto. I'm pretty sure you're right. I just know it's one of those companies that used to be like an American-made quality company, and now they've been bought out, and they're just not quite what they used to be. Um, yeah, Bob Johnson. All the other springs in that kit are good to go. It has a 23-pound mainspring. It has a good firing pin spring. I want to say it has a good leaf spring. I mean, all the Wilson Combat leaf springs are pretty solid. Um, yeah, it's just the 18-pound spring. Um, so if it were me, instead of buying that kit and then buying another recoil spring, I would just go and buy all bulletproof parts and all heavy-duty parts, meaning get the Wilson Combat heavy-duty leaf spring, get the 16-pound spring, get the bulletproof mainspring, just get the top-notch stuff. And really, like, I want to say the bulletproof, which is Wilson Combat's like top-of-the-line stuff, I want to say this spring here was $7 for their best leaf spring. And let me crack it open. I mean, it's going to be hard to translate this on camera for you guys, but it is a thick, hard spring. Like, this thing is really sturdy. You can just feel, you can hear it too. Like, it just sounds really solid. So that's just my mileage. Let's see here. Oh man, Blue Spader, thank you, man. Appreciate you very much. I'm glad all this is helping somebody out. Appreciate that donation. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you very much. Yeah, Ruger. I don't know if Kennard, if you're talking about their 1911s. I messed around. A buddy of mine had a oh gosh, the SR 1911 when they first came out, and it worked. Yeah, it was actually pretty solid gun. Ruger's not really for me. I've just never really been a fan of them. Yeah, Morty Finkel, you got it right. 16-pound recoil spring, 23-pound hammer spring, bulletproof leaf spring, part 417. Yep. And then the firing pin and safety plunger, just whatever Wilson Combat sells. They don't have to be anything super special, but just a better one than what comes with them. Yeah, Scotty Ozbek. Sorry if I butchered your name there. Yeah, the Garrison is I'll be honest, I was really kind of taken back by how good that gun looked. When my buddy brought it over, I was like, the bluing was actually really well done, very deep. Yeah, so revisiting the how do we say, the Type 1911 topic. Yeah, I just don't believe it's necessary. I don't think this supposed accuracy they get you. Nobody can shoot that accurate anyway, right? It would be an irresponsible shot most of the time to be thinking you're going to make a shot far enough away that you can actually hit, that accuracy is actually needed. So it's just a selling point. That's all it is. Great BLT, yeah. Gold bead is just like, I'm really thinking about sending my Colt when it gets back, sending it to my buddy who he does those gold beads. I'm kind of thinking about it. Yeah, Stacy, the leaf spring, I'm telling you, when you compare it to other leaf springs, it's just there's something dense about it, and there's the quality is just so much better. Alex, yeah, man, the Patreon's going to be up real soon. Um, you have my word on that. There's just like there's a lot of stuff to get set up and linked, and like I'll be honest with you guys, even getting YouTube monetized and set up took 2.5 weeks. It's not an easy process. So as soon as I can get it going, I will, in the words of Bill O'Reilly, do it live. All right, let's talk about one more topic. Actually, let me open it up to you guys before I go, because we don't have a whole lot of time left here. Yeah, I want to get to some questions that maybe you guys have. Let's see. Okay, so Morty, you got a good topic here. You took the T-Sauce ASF to the range for the first time today. You brought 10 new Springfield 7-rounders, S&B 230 grain, so yep, you're good to go there. Let's see, several mags with a first round nosedived when dropping the slide. Okay, so yes, there's a few things that I would be looking for here. The first one is I would take apart the magazines and clean them, because very often those Springfield magazines are blued, and they put almost like a petroleum jelly on them. It's very thin on Springfields. They do a pretty good job, but it's still there. So make sure the mags are clean. And then I actually have a video coming out on this exact thing, this exact topic. So Morty, keep an eye out in the next few days for that video. It's called Understanding the Controlled Feed System. So it could be that going on. Trying to think what the other issue might be. So if it's nosediving on the first round, I would also ask, did you clean the pistol really well? Because basically, here's what I'm getting at. When the mag's in the gun, if it's nosediving, that means one of two things is happening. There's something that's grabbing that cartridge and keeping it in the gun, which is why I recommended cleaning it, or for whatever reason the follower is allowing those rounds to tilt forward. It really shouldn't be doing that. It also could be this. You know what? I'm actually glad you asked. This has happened once to me, where it feels like the magazine spring was way too strong, and if you have that. In fact, let me just try to illustrate this to you guys. That was extremely loud. Sorry. Okay, so I've had this Springfield mag for, gosh, 15 years. Really been a faithful magazine. So basically, when the spine in the slide grabs the back of that cartridge and starts to push it forward, the thing that's kind of grabbing it and keeping it back are these feed lips right here, right? And what happens is if you have the follower that's going to allow the round to be pushed forward, that's a problem. But if this area right here is really tight and you have a ton of spring pressure pushing up really hard, that is what can happen. So if they're brand new magazines, I would say load them down and keep it loaded for a little while. See if that helps out a little bit, but also make sure they're clean. For sure. Let's see. Yeah, Blue Spade, man, I appreciate you, man. I really do. Um, yeah, Chris Ferguson. Listen, if you send your Colt to Novak for anything, you're going to be a happy guy. Novak is something special. That shop is legendary. Legendary. Stacy, yeah, the Springfield SA-35 is a solid gun. I know they had a rocky release when they first came out, but I'll tell you, mine has been fantastic. But here's the thing. I'm going to say the same thing that I've said about other guns. Recoil springs, proper lubrication. Now, they come with good magazines, so I kind of have to discount the magazines, but it seems like most of the issues they had when they first came out, the SA-35s, were extractor issues. Now, the high power does have an external extractor, so you may have to change the extractor spring if it's giving you problems. But from my understanding, the newer ones, they've corrected those, and I just don't hear about those problems much anymore. And mine's a good example. I've got a couple thousand rounds through mine, and it runs like a sewing machine. Um, yeah. So Alex, so polishing the feed ramp, sometimes, yeah, but I have um, I have shot a lot of 1911s where the feed ramp was not even polished. It was just like parkerized or blued. And then they just very clearly took some sandpaper to it to knock it down a little bit, and they run fine. Um, what's more important, because here's the thing. If you shoot like 2 or 3 mags through your 1911, guess what's going to happen? That feed ramp's going to be dirty as crap, right? So that's why I never bought into the polished feed ramp thing. That's true for like the first 3 rounds. Um, yeah, top turret gunner. Yeah, man, I'm definitely get better, man. That hip replacement is no joke for sure, or hip surgery rather. Lord Turok. By the way, very good profile picture. That looks like is that Duke Nukem? Definite throwback right there. I used to have an old Windows 95 or maybe 97, 98, I don't remember, laptop with Duke Nukem. Played the snot out of that game. What is your opinion on full-length guide rods? It's a ridiculous thing. It's another one of those inventions that solved a problem that doesn't exist. They don't do anything. They don't do anything. Alex, yeah, that sucks, man. What specifically? What was it doing? What kind of failures were you having? Yeah, Morty. The only magazines I've used for my SA-35 have been the Springfields. I have a couple 13s and a couple 15 rounders, and it's been great. No problems. Oh man, Americash, are you serious? They turned around a gold bead the same day. Bro, the likelihood of me getting a gold bead just went way up. Way up. Because that's my big thing is I don't want to wait 9 months behind some waiting list to get my gun back. Yeah. Oh, Doom. Yeah, there you go. But those are about the same time. Doom and Duke Nukem were kind of neck and neck right there. Um, yeah. Firing out a battery or plain failure to feed. That sucks, man. So I'm not as much of a nerd about high powers to diagnose things, but I will say um, that does sound strange. See the tinkerer in me wants to like get the gun in front of me and figure it out. But sounds like you don't have it anymore. Mikoki, so you can get that leaf spring on like Midway USA. That's where I get most of my stuff, either there or Brownells. JHC, thank you, man. Appreciate the comment, and I really appreciate you being here. Commonwealth Prepper, yes, absolutely. There's a lot of people going back to the 1911. More 1911s are being produced and sold today than at any other time in history. They are as popular as they have ever been. There is no decline in 1911 popularity. My buddy Kyle just got his first 1911. I don't think I have a picture of it, but it's the T-Sauce, the GI. Maybe I do have. No, I don't have a picture. But there's mine. That's what my 1911 looked like. That's this pistol before I blued it. But yeah. Now mine was a 2022 version. You guys, let's talk about that for a minute. The newest T-Sauce guns. Oh, you know what? I know what we need to do. Give me 1 second. I'm going to grab this video from my cloud. I want you guys to see this video. I've not shown this before. So, stand by. Stand by one. I have my cloud open so I can get to this pretty quickly. Let's see. Is this it? No, that's not it. Let's see. Man, I gotta find it. You guys gotta see this. Basically what I did is I took a video. There's no audio, it's just video. Of my buddy's new T-Sauce up against mine. I am absolutely gobsmacked how much they've improved. And yes, they have improved. Like, T-Sauce actually got even better. Man, I can't find the video. Anyway, I'll just tell you about it. So, compared to this picture right here that you guys see, the roll marks are way better. There's no goofy markings on the slide. They're just blank. The slide is blank, both sides. The roll marks, or excuse me, the markings actually look like real roll marks. Like, they're deeper, they're wider, they look more well done. The fitment on his 1911, way better than this guy when I first got it. Way better. In fact, it is extremely close to my Remington Rand copy. Let me see if I can find that. No. Okay. So anyway, the newest T-Sauce 1911s, let me tell you all, they are so good. I was so impressed with the fit, the finish, the little changes they've made to just make them a little bit more correct. The grip panels, the walnut on his grips were much darker, the checkering was better. Oh my gosh, I was so impressed. And he got it for $300. Crazy. Tall hair. I bought a new Springfield mag a month ago. I'm kind of like a weird nerd about magazines. I just like them. I feel like that and ammo. I just keep buying magazines and ammo, and probably once a year I just buy a couple more of these Springfield mags and add them to the pile. But like I said, I've been using this mag and another one for like 15 years that came with one of my Springfields. And I carry these. They work. They just keep going. Uh, Blue Spader. Yeah. So wait, you're saying that you carried a Marine M45, the Colt, the 1911? If so, that's legit. And I know what you mean about the M9. I have an M9. I did a video on it. Man, they're tough. They're tough. They're a good gun, but coming from being a 1911 guy, they're just a very different weapon. Commonwealth Prepper. Yeah, man, look, I'm a sucker for the Pony too. That's why I bought one. You know, as much as I rant and rave about TSOS 1911s, there is something about Colt that I just love. In fact, let's go look at some pictures of the Colt, because I do have some good pictures of the Colt. Check this out. That's my Mark IV that's off with Colt right now. Now, this is after I did some mods. Not all of them, but that's the flat mainspring housing. Smooth. The long trigger. I'm a sucker for the Pony too, man. They got a thing going on. I totally get it. Mikoki, yeah, man. Mags and ammo. There's no such thing as enough. If somebody told me I just won a drawing, like a, what do they call it? Like a lottery, and I won a warehouse full of mags and ammo, within a couple years I will have bought more mags and ammo. I'm just a freak. I'm a weirdo. Walter McPherson, yes. Fully forged frame and slide. And not only fully forged frame and slide, everything, my friend, everything. There are no MIM parts, no machine injected molded parts or cast parts in a TSOS. Not one. And it's on their website. In fact, we can just go to the website. How about that? Let's see here. Let me see. Yeah, if you go on TSOS's website, here we are. Hopefully you guys can see this okay. So if you look right here under their 1911 pistols heading, our 1911s are crafted with the utmost precision, utilizing forged and machined parts. Blah, blah, blah. Unlike many other firearms, we use no cast or MIM parts. There you go. That is their claim, and I believe it. 100%. Kennard, no, I do not have any experience with the nickel, although I was looking at one of those because I wanted to do a No Country for Old Men build. And if you guys know what I'm talking about, put it in the chat. But, yeah. Yeah, Mikoki, in the beginning they did have MIM parts, but as of 2022, they don't anymore. They do not anymore. Yeah, so let's talk about the fact that TSOS is made in Turkey. I know everybody wants American guns. I do too, but here's the deal. The truth is, when you go back to like the 1800s and early 1900s, American-made guns were not as much of a sought-after novelty as they are today. People were actually really interested in German guns and Turkish guns and British guns, especially British, because of the fact that the Confederacy in the Civil War could not keep up and purchase American guns because basically the Union put an embargo on those companies and forbade them from selling to the Confederacy. The Confederacy had to import a bunch of guns from England. Well, after the Civil War was over, those English guns were floating around in the U.S. for, the Old West period, late 1800s, early 1900s, and they were pretty well beloved. They're solid guns. So, look, I'm a patriot. I love this country, and I want my stuff made in America. However, I just think sometimes we need to realize that other countries make good things too, and particularly Turkey. Turkey's been look. Set aside all of the political stuff for a minute. Real humans live in Turkey who do good things, right? And they've been making guns for hundreds of years and doing a pretty good job at it. So it's hard to hate on all that. Yeet Cannon. I love that name. Yeah, man, look, there's a lot of guns I'm going to be checking out. I want you guys' recommendations. I don't have any plans to check out that particular one yet, even though it's beautiful. And you said, let's see. Oh, you just got yours. It'll be there Monday. Man, let me know how it goes. And listen, I am on X. If you guys want to reach out to me directly, the link to my X account is in the bio. Man, make a post, tag me in it, DM me. I'd love to see what you got. Chris Ferguson, yeah, I had a Taurus 1911 for a while. It was surprisingly good. I'm not gonna lie. It was so horribly fit. It was so out of spec. Like, it is not a true 1911 at all. It's a 1911 shaped pistol. But I would be lying if I said it did not run. It did work. Yes, a more elegant weapon for a more civilized age. Okay, we got any Star Wars fans in here? I'm not going to do what I want to do unless I see that there's a lot of Star Wars fans in here. Yeah, undefined human. That is what I've been saying for years. If Colt would just... Look, here's the deal. This is what's funny. Guess who makes Colt's black powder pistols? Uberti, right? Like, they're already not producing their own crap. Like, outsource it to T-Sauce, double the price of the pistols, send them back to the U.S. and put the pony on them. Bada bing, done. They literally would not be able to sell them or make them fast enough. Okay, you ready? Here we go. I see. Are we saying yes, there's some Star Wars fans? Okay, here we go. More elegant weapons for a more civilized age. Yeah, buddy. And that's just a few. I am a big, big Star Wars fan. And if you can name who these belong to, I'll be even more impressed. And just because I know you guys who know what these are going to ask, these are all Theory sabers from Star Wars Theory. I do have other brands, but yeah. Big, big Star Wars fan. Yeah, man. Love Star Wars. Now, of course, all of us real Star Wars fans, this is the point where we have to say, but not the sequels, right? The sequels are a travesty. But I love the prequels. The original 6 are pure works of art. Alex. Morty. Don't hate, man. Don't hate. So, Grizzly Man, yes. So, normally with T-Sauce, the first 2 numbers are the year it was made. That's usually what that means. I would verify that, but yes, that is usually the case. That's the year it was. And if it's 2024, let me tell you, it is solid. I mean, back to 2022, they're good, but I'm telling you guys, I own a 2024. I just handled a 2025. They are so good. They're so good. The X channel name is Old Path. Yeah, it's in my YouTube bio. That's the best place to go find that. Tall hair, yes. I am a lover of the 226. I had a SIG M11, which I just sold to a buddy of mine. Love those pistols. The SIG 226, 229, M11A1. Those are fine pistols. And so, yes, I will be doing a review of those soon. There you go. Yeah, so just so you guys know, I wish YouTube had a direct message feature, but they don't do that anymore. They used to. So now you just have to go through that. I will have an email that I'm going to set up soon. And that way you guys can reach out to me directly. But right now, X is the best place to do that. So with that, guys, it's been a little more than an hour. Let's just take a few more looks at the Colt that is currently off getting looked at, hopefully. And then we'll wrap it up for the night. Yeah, Mikoki, that's great, man. And the 320, yes, that 320 is going to be spicy. I don't know what I'm going to say, guys. I'll be honest with you. Like, they're not good. And I would never carry one. I'll be honest with you, I'm nervous to even put a round in the chamber. I'm just not, I'm not super stoked about it. But my buddy saw some of the news coming out and he goes, well, I'm not carrying this thing anymore. You want to review it? And I'm like, I guess I will, but you know. Thanks, Tango Golf. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, Chris Ferguson, I think what you're saying is, well, I don't know what you're saying. Let's do that. So, yeah, like I said, X is the only one I'm on. I don't do Facebook or Instagram because they hate people like me. And I don't do really anything else. X is the only free place to be. Yeah, Undefined Human, when I did my reveal of the Kimber earlier, I don't know if you were on here yet, but the same CEO that ran Kimber into the ground is, yes, he is the current CEO of SIG, and I don't think it's an accident. Yeah, there's the missing rifling on my Colt. So there it is. Tell me that's not a good-looking gun, though, right? That's a good-looking gun. Yeah, Mikoki, I don't know what the deal is with the 320. I just know there's a lot of people that have an interest in saying they're fine. And then there's a lot of people who have no interest in saying they're fine, saying that they're not fine. Particularly, there was a FOIA request that somebody did, and I got to be careful what I say here. I don't want to get like in trouble, but apparently there's some sort of legit investigation going on, and like several federal agencies are immediately discontinuing their use and deployment of the SIG 320. That to me says something a little frightening. So, yeah, Nicholas Roberts. There's several federal agencies who are now saying like, we're going back to Glock. So, yeah. When they first came out, we were really excited. Me and my buddy who's lending this to me because you know you guys remember the SIG 250, the double action only gun. If you guys remember that gun, back then we were like, man, if they would just make this gun's grip with a better trigger, we'd be happy. And then they did. But unfortunately, it just didn't pan out. It seems that way. Yeah, Robert Arnett, that's great. 67, that's awesome. Actually, I will be having a birthday next week as well, on the 16th. So, happy birthday to us both, huh? Yeah, flute cart, that is the truth. The tea sauces are well done. Oh, I see. Are you saying that at the end of my videos show like where my socials are? Is that what you're saying, Chris? I'm sorry. I was homeschooled. It's me. It's not you. I promise. Okay. So tall hair. I have to be careful what videos I do because I cannot. I have to be careful, like talking about specific websites. You'll notice that I just say Midway USA and not the rest of their web address because even saying that will trigger YouTube's AI. And so, but I will say, if you go on Midway USA on their website .com, and then you go to the search bar and just type in Wilson Combat Factory Plus Sear. They're like $15. That's the one I would buy. And that is just a good quality, very durable GI grade trigger. About the best GI trigger you're going to get with that sear. Rick, 850. How you doing, man? Walter, yeah, old German made 226 for sure. For sure. Love those guns. Yeah, Chris Ferguson, yeah, I'm challenged in more ways than one, so I'm with you. Yeah, Mikoki, I just don't know, man. I'm not taking a stance either way, but I just tend to believe where there's smoke, there's fire. And so until all this gets sorted out in a really comprehensive way, for me, I trend towards like I should probably be careful. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yep, she's a beaut, indeed. Can't wait to get the Colt back, man. I think, yeah. So, before we close it up here tonight, I'm just going to give you a heads up on some upcoming videos. Let's see here. So, I've recorded several videos today. One is on different kinds of 1911 lubrication. Another one is going to be called something like Understanding the Controlled Feed System. I'm also going to be doing a review on and a talk about the M1 carbine specifically. Let me see what other videos we got here. I do have a video coming out on Glocks. I've got a video on my Colt AR. Let's see what else we got here. I am working on getting a T-Sauce high power, and I want to compare it to my SA35. I thought that would be an interesting video. I am going to get a Rock Island semi soon, just so you know. Everybody's been asking me to get a Rock Island and do a video on it because I've kind of thrown some shade at Rock Island, but that's going to happen for sure. And then another video titled What Improvements to the 1911 Actually Matter. So that'll be a good one. So anyway, lots of good videos coming up, and there's a few more that I'm not going to mention yet. But I've got somewhere around 30 videos in either pre-production or production. And so I'm going to keep the content coming. Yeah, lots of great videos coming out, guys. And again, I just want to say thank you. I really, from the bottom of my heart, like, I'm shocked that there's this many of you even here in this live chat right now. So, you know, appreciate you all very much. The super chats especially, man, you guys, you didn't have to do that, and you did. And I am just honored. Really, really, yeah, I'm humbled. So I look forward to talking to you guys again, and we will be doing this live stream. I'm not sure we'll do it every week, probably every 2 weeks, but they are fun, and I appreciate you guys showing up. So until next time, everybody, appreciate you all. We will see you next time.